Welcome to the Revenge Story Times channel. That morning, everything seemed as usual. I woke up to the sound of the alarm, took a shower, got dressed for work, and headed out for my meetings. But during one of my lunch breaks, I met a woman who would forever change my life. This encounter, as if planned, dragged me into a deep void. A few words from her lips echoed in my mind and turned my world upside down. Your wife is cheating on you, and it's with my husband. Something inside me broke, but the real truth was still waiting for me. That day started like any other Friday. I woke up, went through my usual routine, and attended a few meetings throughout the day, negotiating multiple deals. Lost in the busy pace of work, I decided to have lunch at the gallery across from the office when noon arrived. As I was sitting there with my sandwich, a woman took the seat next to me. While grabbing my drink, she spoke softly, "You don't need to move anything from me, John." Looking into her deep eyes, I couldn't help but ask, "Do I know you?" She gave a slight smile and shook her head. "No, we've never met before," she said, "and honestly, I wish we didn't have to meet now either." I was at a loss for words. This beautiful woman sitting in front of me, who knew me but whom I didn't know, what could she possibly want? She extended her hand and introduced herself. "Sorry, my name is Stella Holmes." We shook hands. She continued, "I'll only take a few minutes of your time, there's something we need to talk about." With questions swirling in my head, I looked around, thinking maybe someone was playing a prank on me. But seeing no one, I turned back to her and said, "I don't know you, so I have no idea what you want to talk about. Maybe I should just go." As I tried to gather my things and leave, her hand gently touched mine. "Please, John, just give me 10 minutes. After that, I won't bother you again." I left my food and turned to her. "All right, you have 10 minutes, I said, starting the stopwatch on my watch. She began speaking slowly, almost in a whisper. "John, my husband has been having an affair for the last 6 months, and that woman is your wife, Sue." The moment I heard her words, they echoed in my ears, but my mind refused to accept them. "Stella, I'm really sorry, but I think you've got the wrong person. My wife loves me, and I love her. We've been married for about 15 years, and I bet I'm the only man she's ever known," I said. But the sadness in Stella's eyes seemed to contradict my words. She pulled a thick envelope out of her bag and placed it in front of her. "I'm really sorry, John," she said. "I know how hard this is, but everything I've told you is true. The other woman is definitely Sue." She placed her finger on the envelope and added, "Inside this envelope are photos, a DVD, and a private investigator's report." As I took the envelope, she held my hand and, looking into my eyes, added, "Please, John, watch this after I leave. My advice is to not open it until you've had some time alone. It will take time to go through everything, but it will take even longer to process." "What the hell is this, woman?" I snapped, raising my voice slightly. Her voice was calm but firm. "I've told you, John, your wife is cheating with my husband. You're asking what I want, aren't you?" She paused for a moment, lowered her eyes, and took a deep breath. "I don't want anything from you. I just want your forgiveness." I was even more confused now. Forgiveness? Why would I forgive you? Stella slowly stood up, and there was a deep silence between us. "I've given you all the information you need. Who needs forgiveness is up to you to decide. But let me tell you this, I had to tell you this personally, you deserve that. Secondly, I want your wife out of Justin's and my life." Then she leaned in and whispered in my ear, "I believe Sue loves you, so please think carefully about how you'll respond to this. Don't just react in pain." That was the hardest part for me, but I hope everything will change. As Stella began walking away without looking back, I grabbed her hand and asked one last question. "What will you do about your husband?" She gave me a cold smile and answered with a stern voice, "I'll confront him on Sunday. After that, if he can't convince me within a week that he'll never cheat again, I'll leave him without his reputation, his money, and his manhood." When I returned to the office, I couldn't find a place to open the envelope, so I waited for the day to end. When I got home, it was 6:30 p.m. I dropped my bag on the floor and headed to the bedroom. Sue was watching TV. As soon as she saw me, she jumped up, hugged me tightly, and planted a kiss on my lips. She had greeted me like this every day since we got married. Smiling at me, she asked, "You're home early today, what's going on?" She replied playfully, "That sounds like a great idea, but I can't do tomorrow." I asked curiously, "Why not? Do you have a date with another man?" She playfully tapped my shoulder, laughing, "What a terrible accusation. I'm volunteering at the church's annual auction. I'll be busy all day now, apologize." I searched her face for any sign of a lie but found nothing. I hugged her tightly and whispered an apology, but inside, I was filled with questions. After dinner, I loaded my fish gear into the car. Once everything was ready, I sat down in front of the TV for a while, but I couldn't sleep that night. Around 1 a.m., I noticed Sue cuddling close to me. She gently moved her hand toward me and, realizing I was awake, whispered in my ear, "Are you awake?" "I can't sleep." I murmured. She giggled softly, "Can't sleep or can't manage some fun?" But with those words echoing in my head, nothing felt right. I tossed and turned in bed until 4 a.m. Finally, I gave up, got dressed, and headed for the lake. By the time I arrived at the lake house, the sun was just about to rise. I grabbed a carton of orange juice from the fridge, sat on the white rocking chair, and watched the sunrise. After a while, I dozed off. When I woke up, the orange juice was warm and half empty, and the sun was already high in the sky. Muttering softly, I stood up but realized I needed to rest after all. I had come here to do something difficult. Weighed down by my thoughts, I grabbed a bottle of water and the envelope. Feeling like I couldn't take it anymore, I muttered, "Damn it," and opened the envelope. Inside was a second envelope and a 2-page letter attached to it. I opened the letter and read, "John, I don't know what to say as I give you this letter, so please forgive me if I repeat myself. My name is Stella Holmes, and my husband, Justin Holmes, has been with your wife, Sue, for the past 6 months." As I read the letter, a fire grew inside me. I continued, "Enclosed in the envelope is the report from the private investigator, photos, and a DVD. Before you look through them, think about how much you love Sue and what that love means to you. Reflect on how your love has brought you to where you are now. The relationship is over, and it's no longer threatening your marriage. Now you must ask yourself, can you forgive her? Are you ready to fight for your marriage?" The letter continued, "Before opening the second envelope, find your answer to these questions. You will feel the weight of everything you see. However, it's my duty to prove that the evidence I have is true, so I hope you won't feel the need to open the second envelope." I grabbed the bottle of Jack Daniels, opened the envelope, and started looking through its contents. The photos, each dated, or high resolution, and they all showed Sue's face. In every photo, the happiness on her face was so pure, so joyful, that it shattered my heart. Finally, I watched the DVD. Though not as clear as the photos, what I saw drained me completely. At that moment, everything inside me was gone. All that remained was a cold, bitter emptiness. As the days passed, I made my decision. I couldn't forgive Sue. I had given her everything, but she had given herself to someone else completely. I finalized the idea of divorce in my mind and decided to act. After months of preparation, I hired a lawyer and took all the necessary steps to divorce Sue. Until my preparations were complete, I made sure everything seemed normal, making her believe for a while that things were just like before. Finally, I planned a party for our wedding anniversary. I rented a hall filled with Sue's closest friends and family. That day, I greeted her as a loving husband would, showering her with gifts and compliments. But as the night wore on, I discreetly signaled for them to play the DVD. The DVD started playing, the entire room fell silent. Sue, visibly shocked, collapsed in tears as everyone watched her relationship with Justin unfold on screen. In front of all those who had once respected her, Sue's world crumbled. That moment, my revenge was complete. Sue's life fell apart, while I had a fresh start. Not long after, we signed the divorce papers, and I sailed into a new chapter of my life. Thank you for listening until the end. See you in the next episode of Revenge Story. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Goodbye.